Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this video. It's me again, Teacher Kent, and today we are going to be talking about a new topic. The new topic that we are going to talk about is called light. We will talk about what is light and what are the things that are created by light. Are you ready? Let's start. So let me just share my screen, here you go. This is my PowerPoint presentation. Light. Light. Light travels in a straight line. Light travels in a straight line, but it travels wherever it can travel, as long as it can pass or as long as it can travel in a straight line. However, some objects can stop light. It, some objects can just let light pass, and some objects can actually decrease the amount of light that can pass through. Every single day, class, we use light. We use the biggest source of light we have, which is sunlight. And sunlight travels for a million months or minutes or hours, depending. No, I'm sorry. I meant sunlight travels in a few minutes from where it is currently. However, some light, like those you see in the stars, they reach the earth for 1,000 years. They travel for 1,000 years. But light travels very, very fast. Light travels so fast that it's considered one of the fastest things in existence. Some scientists say that if we learn how to travel at the speed of light, we may learn how to travel and turn back time. Isn't that amazing? It's simply because light travels so fast that you do not measure it in minutes, seconds, or hours. You don't also measure it in meters, kilometers, or other forms of measurement except for light years. That is the speed of light. Light years. Now, we talked about three types of object that can stop light, can let it pass, or even decrease the amount of light that is traveled. Those three objects are transparent objects, translucent objects, and of course, opaque objects. Now, I think most of you already know these types of objects. However, we will still talk about them. We will still need to relearn them, especially since you're just studying with me through online. It would be better if we could study in person. However, as you know, because of the disease that is going around, it's better to be safe than to be sorry. So, let's continue, shall we? First things first, what are transparent objects? Transparent objects are objects that can allow light to pass through. An example of transparent objects are these one. What is this? This is what we call a glass. Glass, if it's in its natural form, which has no color, it will let light pass 100%. It will let light pass through no problem. Another example of a transparent object is this one, plastic, transparent plastic cellophane. I think you've seen this around when you go and buy some stuff. This is a transparent object. It cannot block light. It will just let light pass through. Finally, we have diamonds. Diamonds are also objects that allow light to pass through. Now, you might ask, Teacher Kent, why are glasses usually made with transparent objects? Isn't it better if there is like different designs or colors in a glass to make it look more beautiful? And I will say, yes, you're right. It is better if it's more colorful. However, the transparent nature of this will allow the person to know at least what color of drink he or she is going to drink. If somebody will go to you and tell you drink some water, but when you look at the cup, the water is color black, you might not want to drink the water because you can see that it is not clean. That's the purpose of transparent glass. And it the same can be said with the transparent plastic. You need to know if the things that you bought are really the things that you need. So they will give you a transparent plastic so you can see inside what you are carrying. Let's say you wanted to buy a ring. However, if they give you a black plastic bag, you may not be able to see inside. And when you go home, when you check your things, you will find that it is a wrong ring. That's why some people will give you transparent paper bags or plastics so you can see if what you bought is actually what you wanted to buy. And finally, diamonds. Now, diamonds are amazing class because if you let a single strong ray of light shine through it at a specific angle, some diamonds will show a rainbow. That is because light in its natural form can create different colors of the rainbow. And finally, the last object that we know is transparent is water. Water, clean water, should be transparent. When you go to a beach, if the beach looks dark green, you will know that the water in the beach may be dirty, or a swamp, or a river. Then but you will ask me, Teacher Kent, some beaches and some ponds are color blue. They are not color transparent. And I will say, yes, that's correct. It's because people believe that it reflects the sky, especially those in the beaches. But I'm not sure anymore. I think there's another explanation for it. Nevertheless, we shall continue, okay? We are now finished with the transparent objects. Let's now go to the translucent. Translucent. Translucent objects. Translucent objects are objects that allow only 8% of light to pass. Maybe 50%, maybe 60%, or maybe even 80%. But it's not 100%. And what are those objects? First and foremost, your shades, not your eyeglasses. Your eyeglasses are usually transparent. This one, shades. The main purpose of shades for your eyes is for you to see even if the sunlight is very strong. And that always happens here in Thailand. Most of the time, the sunlight is always strong. That's why people developed a translucent object known as shades. So you can still see everything. The light of the sun will just stop hurting your eyes compared to when you look at the sun directly. Okay? Another example of a translucent object. This is what we call a magnifying glass. Now, it limits the amount of light it can move. However, because of the shape of the glass or the function of the glass, it can actually zoom in or pinpoint certain things. That's why when you try and use it in reading, the words will grow big. It's because the glass is made to look towards the center, which allows you to be able to read small prints into big prints. That's another translucent object. If it's just transparent, it's just the same as reading a book normally. However, because they made it translucent, you can read a book easier. Even if the book has little fonts or little words, you can use it to help you read. Another object that is translucent is ah, plastic, colored plastic. Like I said, coloring plastics is fun. Colored things are beautiful. So, people made translucent colored plastics. By the way, plastics that have a darker color only lets a little bit of light to pass compared to objects that are lighter color. For example, a green colored plastic will or a dark green colored plastic will only allow a little bit of light to pass compared to a plastic that is bright yellow. That is because a darker a thing is, a darker a translucent object is, the less light it can pass. That's why your shades are color black. Now we're done with translucent objects. We shall go towards the last one, which is opaque. Opaque objects. Opaque objects are objects that do not let light pass. An example of this is an eraser. An eraser. Actually, class, opaque objects, they are a lot in our world. Almost every single thing is an opaque object. As there is only a little amount of objects that are transparent and a little amount of objects that are translucent. Most objects do not let light pass, and that is just the way they are designed. Another example of an opaque object is a rock. A rock is an opaque object. It does not let light pass, so some insects or some animals will live near a rock because the rock will provide shadows. And some animals or insects like living in dark places. Another thing that is opaque is your books. It's very hard to read a book if it's transparent, right? You can actually read better if the book is on paper, on a color white sheet of paper than a transparent paper. But now, remember, class, paper is actually a translucent object. It will allow light to pass. It's not transparent, it's not opaque. However, if there is a lot of papers on top of each other and you try and look at the sun, you will see that slowly, the light of the sun is no longer that strong. That means that the paper is translucent and it slowly stops a little bit of light every single layer of paper. So opaque objects, translucent objects can become opaque objects if they are thick enough to stop all of the light to pass. And the last thing that is opaque object is, oh, I'm sorry, that's already done. Ta-da! Us, humans. Humans are opaque objects. We do not actually allow light to pass. Instead, we use light. We use light energy. How do we use light energy? Well, what if I tell you that light energy gives almost all of the living things on earth their own energy? That means all of the living things on earth get their energy from the sun. Would you believe me? I will explain why. First, there is what we call producers. Do you remember what are producers? Those are the plants. They make their own food. They get sunlight. They get their energy from the sun. They can make their own food, so they transfer the energy from the sun into the energy they use to grow. And what animal eat plants? A lot, right? Chickens, cows, all the animals that are herbivores. And don't forget, we as humans, we also like to eat plants and vegetables and fruits, and those are parts of a plant. So light energy is actually very important to us humans, even if our body does not allow light to actually pass. Isn't that amazing? Now, let's continue. Shadows. The shadows are the things that light actually creates. A shadow is a dark area or shape produced by a body coming between rays of light and a surface. For example, this person, this person is standing in a doorway. This person is in between the source of light and a dark room. So, like we said before, light travels. Light travels in a straight line. And if you look at the person on the picture, you can clearly see the shadows below his feet. That is because the shadow is created when the light from the light source can pass, but some of the light do not. Now, if you look at the picture, the shadow of the person has very long feet or legs. Does that mean that the person has long legs too? No, it doesn't. It just means that the light passing through makes it look like the person has long legs. Now, let's continue. That example means that it depends on the position of the light and the object, how big or how small a shadow is. For example, if there is a light on top of you, you will look down, you will see a very little shadow, little or no shadow. However, if the light is at your back, you will see in your front that the shadow is long. It's because the light from the back passes through you, but it stops your at the part of your body. And then the light travels a bit farther. That's why it looks like the shadow is bigger than your whole body. Now, my question is, what is the largest light source in our solar system? I think I already told you this before. Do you still remember? The largest source of light in our solar system is the sun. And next, when we have a class, I will talk about the sun and what light the sun makes and what shadows the sun also makes. But for now, this is Teacher Kent. Thank you for listening, and I would see you again this Friday. Thank you. Goodbye.